right, welcome back to the KnivesFAST channel, guys. It is time for an overview of these two beauties from Sharp by Designs. But first, let's move everybody back into place. Apparently, I knocked them all around. Say hello to Ren and Stimpy, Powder Toast Man, Log TV, and Choo Choo. And let's get started right here on the KnivesFAST channel. Welcome to everybody who's new and to everybody who's been here all along. Welcome to this review. And stick around. So these are two versions of the Sharp by Design Mini Typhoon designed by Brian Neadeau. Brian is a custom maker and also obviously does production knives, the Tempest, the Evo Typhoon, among others. These are the first of his designs that I've ever had in. I'm very thankful to Brian for sending them along. So let's take a look at the Mini Evo here, guys. Very stinking cool profile to these. Nice contoured scales, as you can see. These have an inlay, and on this particular one, which I'll show you the other in a moment, this particular one has a very smooth brown micarta. When I mean smooth, I mean smooth. There's no transitions, nothing like that, and you can't really feel the texture of the micarta, but there is a grippy texture, not a grippy texture, a grip to the actual knife. I mean, it's not slick is what I'm trying to say, but it looks smooth. If that makes any sense. You do have kind of a 6-shooter pivot here that is raised slightly. A lot of these things are Brian Neadeau kind of trademarks. And again, I'm new to his stuff, but I've talked to some other folks who filled me in on some of this, and now I got fingerprints everywhere. There we go. So you do have this satin pocket clip that is also a Brian Neadeau thing, if you will. It is down here, and it is right side tip only, tip up only, and you got about that much sticking out of your pocket. Yeah, that's about it. Not bad. These are made by Riot, by the way, before I forget to say that. You do have excellent contouring to the scales, as you can see, and this is an integrated backspacer. Here you can see the split right there. You do have lanyard post. Excuse me, holy cow. And we obviously have a flipper here. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Jimping here. Everything is nicely chamfered off. You do have a lock bar interface, which we'll talk more about in a moment. And if we flip this open, you can look in here and see that there is some relief there, for weight reduction. And we'll look at it off camera just to make sure. No, there's not, actually. I take that back. I don't know what I was seeing. I was seeing a reflection of the lock bar, I think. There is not any reduction, any milling for weight reduction. But this is very light because of the thinness of the scales, first of all, as you can see, and because of these inlays of micarta here. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. All right, so you have a drop point blade on this one with a satin finish. You have this great looking drop point here with the swedge and this great hole with a fuller. My only comment on the hole is I wish it was up a little bit where I could middle finger flick it. You cannot. Well, okay. I just somehow got the fat of my finger in there. Let's see if I can do that again. Man, how in the world did I do that? I have not been able to do that the whole time the knife has been here. Hold on, maybe this? Yeah. Okay, that's basically really pinching the fat of your finger down in there. Oh, see? But if I could just get to a little bit more of that hole, that would be fantastic. Okay, that's awesome that I could do that. I must be going right there in that really deep spot, so that is great. All right, so the flipper tab, no jimping on the flipper tab. But as you can see, it is contoured to your finger, very Brian Neadeau shape and design from what I'm being told. Some people have told me they don't like that it's kind of pointy. I will say it is, chamfered off somewhat. You do have a very aggressive sharpening choil there that does come past the plunge, so you have no problem with smiles or issues there with your plunge grind. You should be able to sharpen this one just fine and have plenty of life in that edge. But not that this flipper tab acts as a great little guard. Now, while we're here, good 4-finger grip. Nowhere to really choke up. You do have a nice area of jimping here. Nice big area of jimping, and you can really get into this. Now, you do feel the pocket clip, but it is definitely not a hot spot. You can adapt to it, and it is just fine. Very cool. And again, as I said, this is, I would call it a bolster lock. I said frame lock earlier, but it's a bolster lock because you have kind of most of the lock bar covered by the inlay here. You do have this really interesting design, which I'm told is a normal Brian Neadeau thing, of the over travel stop and lock bar insert being attached there and being your part that sticks up for to release the lock bar there. For lock bar access there. So it sticks up, and I think that is a really cool design. I have no problem with that whatsoever. It is smoothed out, and I can get in there fairly easily. Now, action-wise, the detent nub, as Brian has on his knives, is tuned very well by Riot. As you can see, definitely not shaking out. Has a great sound. And just fires out there, no problem whatsoever. And you can see it drops down to my thumbnail, and then nice little shake gets it home. Really, really cool, excellent design. Let's just jump over here. I'm going to move this box for a moment, and we're going to jump over here to our Tanto. Now, this one has what I think is in-cut carbon fiber. Again, finishing is all the same. You don't feel transitions. You have a great contour here. Love the back spacer being integrated. All of the above. Really, really cool. Oh, by the way, I forgot something. Carries very slim in the pocket. A lot of people were asking me, did this stab me in the leg while I was carrying? No, I carried both of these several times. I didn't have any problem with that. I mean, it is kind of pokey if you just sit here and hammer at it. But again, that's not what it's intended for. It's intended to sort of grab your finger there and to keep you here for a a guard. Again, same grip, no issues whatsoever. Action is actually, I feel like this blade might be a little bit heavier because the action's a little bit droppier, smoother, as you can see there. Definitely wants to come down. Very cool, but in the hand, the only real difference ergonomically is if you get way up here, you kind of have a little harpoon there with that bump in the blade. The styling, you guys know I'm a drop point guy, and I'm not big into Tantos, but I'm big into this Tanto. This is fantastic. You have this very deep hollow grind, and you have a nice flat here. This guy is uber sharp and slicey. Both of them are, but I would say this one even more so. Let's just do this. Because of that hollow, it just really shaves. Just intense. Very, very nice. Let's just do the other one while we're at it, just to show you that guy's a cutter as well. Again, this is a, I'm thinking it's still... Yeah, I didn't get to ask him, but I'm thinking it's still a slight hollow there, but it's not nearly as aggressive as a hollow as the Tanto is. And the Tanto is a little bit better of a cutter in that regard. I'm going to wipe these off now because I just got them all gunked up. So there, we'll put this beautiful guy back out here. So we do have a few things to talk about here, and then we'll go over specs. And now, my understanding is Brian has a few of these, and he's kind of sent them out to reviewers and held on to some of them. He thought he would already have the rest of them by now, and they haven't come in. They are going to dealers. There will be a drop of these at dealers, and I do not know when that's going to be, and Brian doesn't know when that's going to be, but it should be soon-ish. So be looking for these. And be ready, guys, because they're going to go. These are fantastic in the hand. Again, the contoured scales feel great. Everything feels great. Now, a couple of little things, and they're really going to be on the pocket clip. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the satin finish. I know that's his thing. I've heard that. The thing is, I kept getting them printed up. And again, maybe I'm worried too much. It's use it to work. but you know, that's really not the big deal. The bigger deal is this pocket clip is pretty stiff. Now, as I've used them more, they've broken in a little bit, but I wear kind of thinner cargo pants, and they, you know, it would kind of get caught. You can see where this is fairly low. By the way, I didn't really have a problem with this point here in my grip. Somebody told me that I probably would. It doesn't bother me. Do I feel it? Sure. Is it poking me or harming? No. But it is thicker, the clip, and so it was getting bunched up on my pants right there. And, you know, you'd probably be fine with jeans or other material, but on my particular pants, it was definitely getting bunched up. That's really my only negative. The flipper tab doesn't bother me. People were saying they don't like the flipper tab. I like the flipper tab. It grabs my finger. I didn't have any problem with carrying it or any issues with it whatsoever. So really my only negative would be that little tiny nitpick of the pocket clip being a little too stiff and a little too not enough of a ramp. But if it was more of a ramp, then we'd be complaining about it poking. So I don't have a big deal with it. Real quick, I'm going to weigh the Tanto off camera here, 3 ounces. And I'll weigh the drop point off camera, 2.9. So they are very, very close. As far as, great, I can't get to my, there we go. As far as measurements, guys, I don't really have specs, so let me just see if I can do this for you real quick. By the way, this video is going to be long because we're talking about 2 knives and working through them. 4 inches on the handle length. Your grippable area is, oh boy, 3, right at 3 5/8, I would call it, which again, fine for me, no problems whatsoever. Your blade length on the Tanto, well, your blade length, period, is going to be right at 3 1/2, and the cutting area is right at 3 1/8 on that one, and I'm thinking it's going to be the same, but we shall see. No, this, yeah, about 3, a little under 3 1/8 on that one. So really, really cool designs. I really, really like them. Let's just do, just because everybody loves the comparisons here, we will put, well, let's put both of them out there. All right, so there are both of these, and let us do our normal comparisons. For those of you that know these knives, there is your Ontario Rat 1 and your Ontario Rat 2. Now, these size-wise are, as you can see, much closer to the Rat 1. The Rat 2, I mean, excuse me. So very, very cool. Thank you, Brian, so much for sending these guys. I am very impressed. Like I said, if I were to choose one of these, it would be the Tanto. Just very much so. Now, these are going to be between $375 and $425, depending on the options you choose. And I will leave a link to Brian's website, sharpbydesign.com, as I'm sure he will put some information up on when these are going to drop as he has it. So hopefully they will be up soon. And guys, these are really cool pieces. And, you know, I love the fact that Brian has his style. And, you know, he very much, you know, he's known for his style. And these are very much in that style. And I think they're very cool. So there you go, guys. Give me a thumbs up. Sorry, this is a little longer video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And thanks for watching the Knives Fast channel.